Welcome! This is my day 9 in Ark on hardcore mode, and today I wanted to try something new for a video, as I'll be commenting on my own playthrough. You know, a little bit in the 100 days video style. Let me know if you enjoy this new format by giving this video a like. And what I began this day with is flying on an RG towards a yellow supply drop. Only to get rudely interrupted by a raptor. That wasn't a huge obstacle though. I had a bird, and we all know birds like this eat raptors for breakfast. So I did away with the pest, and in that time the supply drop finally touched down. I erased the evidence of the slaughter and went to check it out. It had a golden ring, which meant double loot roll, which made me eager to see what's inside, but at the same time, I could not abandon caution. Without an enemy in sight, I opened the glove box and found some really sturdy but ugly pants. And another gun, by the way. Now, I did not know it at the time, but those pants would legit save my life today. After that, I hauled my bird over in the direction of the redwoods while internally screaming for it to fly faster. But it didn't. It's an argentavis, and for all of its utility, it's the slowest airborne thing in the game. Being bored by the flight, I decided to make my life more interesting by picking on an innocent snake that was minding its own business. I also realized for the 50th time that for whatever reason, not every specimen of Titanoboa is kind enough to drop its venom on death, but I just shrugged and moved on as I was actually on a mission. You see, in previous episodes I've tamed this RG, and it's very nice to have, but it's still missing its crucial companion. RG alone is good, but it's RG with an anky that you really want to have. So that was my primary goal for today. Find and tame myself an ankylosaurus. And of course, I knew I can find those spawning in highlands area of the redwoods, but I wasn't finding any, and running out of stamina in the proximity of those trees would be a bad idea, so I headed towards the river to land and rest instead. I had a quick look around, for this place is notorious for presence of microraptors, and getting struck by one would be quite terrible. But I only saw a gallimimus, and those brontos were quite loud, so I moved on without further hesitation. On my way, I passed a scene of carnage involving a Rex assaulting a helpless Diplodocus and a nearby Carno hurrying to help it. Then I slowed down a little bit to check out a pack of colorful raptors, because they just looked so cool. In fact, I decided to yoink one of them and carry it off to somewhere where I could check its gender and level and potentially tame it. After all, I still had the self-appointed side quest of finding Ruby the Raptor a girlfriend. Unfortunately, the pack leader was quite feisty, so I had to listen to the obnoxious sound of it biting at my RG's feet the entire way. After I dropped it, however, it immediately aggroed on a nearby turtle, allowing me to swoop down and approach it slowly to identify it. Because guess who forgot to craft a spyglass despite having resources for it for 3 days in a row? Oh, and then I flew away because that sad raptor girl only had 32 levels. What a disappointment. She had such pretty colors, but Ruby's potential future offspring deserve better. I had my RG rest on a rock for a while keeping eye on nearby tickle chicken, and after that I decided to head home. And then I looped back around because I remembered there being a tech parasaur I could grab, so I can have an electronics farm later. I wasn't sure where it went, or in fact, I don't even know why I thought it'll still be alive, but it was. Therefore I just made sure it was the right gender, and since it was, I grabbed it with the intention of bringing it home. Of course, only after my bird pooped. It was the start of a long flight home, which I will speed up for everyone's benefit. Luckily, this valley offered an easy pass to the shoreline without having to dodge many terrain obstacles. It's actually one of the many reasons this area constitutes my favorite spawn zone. And when I could finally see the ocean, I turned south and I could already see my home in the distance. Only I got distracted by a ruin I haven't noticed before. So I went to investigate it, and now I'll make you listen to the explorer note I found, just as the game will make me listen to it. Except it will just be a Basilosaurus dossier.
One of the stranger creatures in the waters surrounding the island is Basilosaurus salacium facet. It's a powerful swimmer, which is adapted to the shallows so remarkably well that it rapidly recovers from injuries when near the water's surface. Conversely, it's vulnerable to deep water pressure, which slowly causes it harm. Basilosaurus is usually closely followed by other predatory creatures, as its eating habits leave plenty of scraps for scavengers to consume. It is a gentle creature towards humans and happily laps up food directly from them. However, the creatures that trail the Basi tend to become dangerously enraged whenever this occurs, as it leaves no leftovers for them. Despite the hassle of engaging with its ornery followers, many tribes still attempt to tame the Basilosaurus, as its mammalian, warm-blooded circulation provides a rider with perfect comfort from both heat.
Just look at me running to double check if I got the right gender of the parasaur.
Defense mechanism that prevents it from being stunned or shocked. Alternatively, Basilosaurus is hunted, perhaps too vigorously, for its special blubber, which can be efficiently refined into gasoline.
And after this moment of confusion, I captured the parasaur and knocked it out with a single trunk arrow, because a bow with 700% damage or something isn't joking around. I quickly ran back to get some berries to tame it, taking the extremely inefficient way of flying my RG in there despite running being much faster. Needless to say, I yoinked the berries off of my biological parasaur and proceeded to fly my RG back to the tech one to feed it, because I'm just that addicted to bird for some reason. I struggled to comprehend for a while, why do I carry all that semantic paste in my inventory? I still do. But regardless, it was time to wait for the parasaur to tame, and so I waited while checking out all the loot that I collected both on me and the bird. Tech guy actually tamed way faster than I anticipated, so I didn't name him. Instead, I took a minute to ponder on what I wanted to put a newly earned level in, and then had a brilliant idea for where I could move bases to, after remembering that 3 platforms were a thing while scrolling through the engram list. So I unlocked the engrams and continued with my sights set on one day moving to the Great Redwoods biome and living on a tree platform too high up for any predator to dare attack my home. By the way, can you see how much of an idiot I'm being right now? I could have totally lifted that parasaur instead of waiting for it to follow. I sometimes cringe watching my own footage. If friendly fire wasn't off, that para would be so dead right now. And guess what I shall do instead? No, it doesn't actually include getting on the bird this time. I just end up grabbing a saddle from my other parasaur to ride the tech guy into the base. Okay, I must admit that it made it possible for me to park better, but still. After parking, I just made them make babies. And then watched them for a while, until I got bored, paced a bit, looked up chain bola for some undiscernible reason, watched them some more, and then finally decided to get on the job of finding an anky again. So I hopped on my RG and actually flew in the direction where I saw one before. Albeit, if I remember correctly, it was a low level. Still, any anky is better than no anky. It was a bit of a flight, during which I could just press sprint button as hard as I can and check out occasional silhouette of a megalodon in the water, thinking it could be a Basi. And when I finally got to the edge of the snow biome, where I knew there was an anky chilling in the crystal deposits, I needed my bird to rest and regain stamina. While resting, I couldn't help but to admire the colors of the RG that spawned close by to all the aloes. but his fate was pretty much sealed. I couldn't possibly drag it away from that cluster of carnage. So moving on, I found the place with an anky, and apparently a whole bunch of freshly spawned raptors. I decided I needed to intervene quickly and tear this poor thing away from the hangry jaws. But as you just saw, I continued managing to grab raptors instead. And only raptors. You see, it happened again. And so there was nothing left of that anky. I was about to leave when I thought, why not check out the pack's leader? Maybe it's female and I could capture her for Ruby. I looked among them to see which one had the pack leader glow and yoinked it in one swoop. Understandably, it tried to offend my ears in return while doing negligible amount of damage to Aquila. It wasn't even that good looking, but hey, maybe stats will be good. I had to regen my stamina again, and I wish it went faster, but after that I returned to the raptor and decided that the best way to get to know it will be to expose Aquila to its claws just for a little bit. And it's a bad level. Not only that, but also a male. I had no use for that. So I decided to go back to the mountains and redwoods area, hoping to find a new anky there. Again, I wish argentavises flew faster, because from that point even Volcano was a solid distance away. Perhaps though, I could find one on the volcano slopes? It counts as a mountain, right? I hoped anky spawned there, but instead I just found more raptors. Why not? I decided to indulge in this find by yoinking the pack leader and finding out what level it is, because why would I make a spyglass after so many encounters that made me regret not having it? Why not? Because I have attention span of a goldfish apparently, even without burning it away on TikTok. And it's a male again. How useless. Moving on, I knew that if anywhere there should be ankies spawning at the Redwoods mountain slopes. But as I tried to land to recover my stamina on the way to there, I got immediately distracted by another pack of raptors. I tried to give chase, only to quickly give up and continue flying, forgetting completely that my stamina was really low. Oh man, now I'm gonna land in front of a car now and get eaten or something. I'm not hearing anything, but that's where the raptors went, right? Fortunately, I wasn't about to die. By some miracle, I landed in a perfectly safe area to rest. And after resting until my stamina bar was full, I continued my journey towards the Metal Mountain. I got briefly intrigued with the colorful dinos on the river shore, but I ignored them under the threat of being microraptored, and made sure to fly above the redwood trees and not below them to avoid some ugly kittens pouncing on me. Since there was a conveniently placed yellow drop, I decided to check it out, and in it I found a metal shield and a GPS device. Too bad that the marvelous spyglass mod outclasses the GPS by far. I deposited this loot into the bird and started mining metal as I suddenly remembered how much of it will I need for the tree platform. So I mined and mined until all the rocks were broken, using my argentavis's magic weight reduction capacity to get all of the metal I needed in one go. Of course, one rich metal ore wasn't nearly enough, so I moved on to the next ones, making sure that the RG is always really close by, so I don't need to do that drop and pick up stuff ever again on the strip just to be able to move after mining out the vein. Needless to say, without a tamed anky, it took way longer than it should, and what I should have done instead was flying around trying to locate that anky to tame. But I guess I was impatient and didn't want to have to fly back over here with a tamed anky to mine this metal. But eventually I was very close to done with the amount needed for the tree platform. I just needed to fill out one more stack. And there was plenty more metal veins on this mountain to harvest. So I flew down the slope and aimed to land by the closest one, but decided to pass on it due to the presence of a giant bug. Needless to say though, I missed a very important detail in my surroundings. Ah, what the? Come on, get my sword! Come on, die already! Even more? Die! Die! How many of you are there? Oh my gosh, I'm so dead. Wait, another Tyla? How many of those things are here? Please don't bleed me out! He's dead. Scorpion? Okay, I'm good, I'm good. How did I survive that? So, that was a thing that happened. Remember how in the beginning of the episode I said that those chitin pants would save my life? Well, after this, I would not have ended with that sliver of HP left, if not for armor from those pants. No, I would not have lived without that sword either. This was quite ridiculous. Anyways, I came back to the spot to process what just happened, ate some more to accelerate my healing, and stared at the broken chitin pants for a while, wondering just how many bugs will I need to kill to ever repair it. After that, I got down to collecting the Tyla claws from the corpses. It will be useful to have them, as it's one of the rare Apex drops. I also realized that if I harvest scorpions in particular, then maybe repairing those pants isn't impossible. But for now, I decided to just fly around with bare butt. It's not like there's anyone to watch on this island. And no, I'm not gonna wear cloth leggings no matter how good now. I don't care if it looks ridiculous. In any way, after shaking off the trauma, I went back to working on my original purpose of being here. Finding an ankylosaurus. And looking out for scorpions to murder, by the way. And yeah, I know those were sabers. It still wasn't easy though. It took me a long while of just flying around the mountain, looking and finding anything but an anky. Dodic? Sure. Carno? Sure. Metal everywhere? Yep. But finally, I found them. Yeah, not just one, but 3. I checked one, and it was terrible. And I checked the second, then grabbed it and flew away. It was good enough apparently. Couldn't be bothered to check the third. I ended up landing once more on the top to regen stamina, as the anky casually tried to escape. To no avail, of course. I grabbed it, and after a short bit of being directionally confused, headed towards the volcano, which was a good waypoint for the direction to home. Of course, as it usually is, when you fly on an RG without leveling its speed significantly, it took a long time to actually get anywhere. But trust me, it dragged out a lot more for me than it does for you with all those speed ups. As I was closing in on the volcano, I knew I'm gonna have to find a place to drop the anky and rest, as my stamina was getting to a point where I'm in a risk of landing in a precarious situation if I don't choose my stop earlier. Fortunately, beside the rest stop, I also found a bug, so I decided to get my RG to eat it. It was just a tad bit too tanky for my comfort. And another bug decided to join the party too. Not to mention a bunch of dogs, which ended up eating the second scorpion before my RG could get to it. I decided to take my frustration out on them, and they made it quite easy, thinking that my RG was an easy meal just because it was wounded. But after another one of them died, they scattered. And now I just had to wait out the scorpion venom effect to continue my journey. I went back up to where I first landed, and of course my anky was still trying to waddle away from me, but those attempts are futile. It could never hide. I grabbed it and took to the skies again, heading towards the beaches north of the red obelisk. I normally would prefer to preserve stamina over a distance like that, but back then I just wanted to get home before it gets completely dark and navigation becomes difficult. So I pressed that sprint button like no tomorrow, admiring the land that basks in the light of slowly setting sun. And soon enough, I was there on my home beach, only meters away from my base, which I could already see. My Argus stamina was very close to draining, but I would make it. I dropped the anky and left it there while I went to my base. I got reminded to whistle Aquila to stay put as I entered my little structure to craft more narcotic arrows and get rid of all the inventory clutter. After finding a place to deposit my trophies, I ran straight back to the anky to trank it. I assumed it wouldn't take too long with my awesome ascendant bow. Of course, the anky decided to inconvenience me one last time this day by wandering away so far, but after that, it was an easy game. I shot it several times, it started running, and then dropped unconscious, just like that. I'm sure it will tame overnight. But for now, I'm going to end this episode. Give the video a like if you enjoyed this style of narration, and subscribe with notifications to see how long I can last in this hardcore attempt. See you in the next one. Bye!